Hello. On today's episode I'm going to show you how to use forms in QuickBooks Desktop 2017. I am Caleb Jenkins and I work at RLJ Financial Services. You can visit us on our website at www.rljfinancial.com. I was named the top 10 QuickBooks ProAdvisor, and I was also named the top up-and-comer ProAdvisor by Insightful Accountant. I've been named the top 40 under 40 in the accounting profession by CPA Practice Advisor. I've also won the Philanthropic Practitioner Excellence Award winner by Accountex USA. I was the youngest ProAdvisor ever to become certified at age 16. On the side, I am a volunteer for Christian Aid Ministries for their SALT program, and I also volunteer for Lamb Services for the Prison Ministry program. Today I'm going to show you how to use forms. So we're going to look at the Write Checks window, we're going to look at the Enter Bills window, we're going to look at the Create Invoices window, Create Sales Receipts, Record Deposits, and Transfer Funds. So first, this is the Write Checks window. And I will go and dig into this and show you a live demo of the Write Checks window. But this is the Write Checks. This is Enter Bills window. This is what it looks like. And then we've got our Create Invoices window. And then we've got our Create Sales Receipt window. And then we've got our Record Deposits window. And then we've got our Transfer Funds window. Now, let me back out of my PowerPoint here, and I will show you a live demo of each of these slides of the different types of forms. So I'm going to open up a live QuickBooks file. Actually, this is for the SALT program that I mentioned earlier that I volunteer for, and this is a minister in Haiti. I have a video on that online, so you can take a look at that later. So there is the first area is the Write Checks window. So on our home page, it is right here on the Write Checks. I can also visit that by going up to Banking and Write Checks, or I can do Control W on my keyboard. So for now, I'll just click on the Write Checks. First, I'll have to select my bank account that I want to be writing out of. Then I will choose my check number, or if it is a bank debit or ACH, then I would put the type of a transaction it is here. So maybe it's an EFT, maybe it's a ACH, maybe it's a debit. So you can just use that how it fits best. We would use the date of the transaction. We can hit a drop down, and here's all of our vendors. So I will just choose this, and then we type in the amount of the transaction, and then we give it a memo, supplies, and then we're going to choose office supplies as our expense account. With this we can add multiple line items. So maybe if you're itemizing, so maybe you go say to Walmart or something and you want to itemize out your accounts. So maybe this was office supplies, so I'll give it a memo here for office supplies. And then I want to, maybe it was office or maybe just general supplies that I also purchased 500 from. Let's go ahead and change that to 1500. And then so this was general supplies, and then I also purchased office equipment for $500, and this was an Apple computer. So I will put that in the memo here, and that should be good. And now I'm ready to save this transaction. When I save this transaction, my account balance will go down by that $1,500. If I go back to that transaction, I can delete it so that it is not in my books. The next type of a form is the Enter Bills window. So this is in case of you get a bill from a vendor and you want to enter it so you can pay it later. So maybe it's from this bill again, and it is for $1,500, and we can tell it when the bill is due. So maybe this is a net 30 bill, and this was for supplies again, but all of it this time is just supplies. So in this case we're finished with the bills, so we could save it, and then we're finished. We come back and we can delete this bill. The ways to get to the bills is you can select it on your home page, or you can go to your vendors and enter bills. The next form that I want to look at is creating invoices. You can do that here on your home page, create an invoice. You can also do that up here on your customers tab, and you can click create invoices, or you can click Control I on your keyboard, and that will pull up the create invoices. So maybe I have a customer that I want to pull up here, and we want to go ahead and record all of this. Then we have an option to choose a class. We have an option to choose the date of the invoice. We have an option to give it an invoice number. This will stagger your invoice number, so it's progressively adding one digit to the invoice number over the previous one. We can enter all these details that we want. We have different templates. We can create other templates if we want, but this is a standard template, or maybe it's a professional invoice. Depending on your needs, you can use it however you want. We can create our items here, which we don't have any items in our list, but that would give us all the details we need for the item, description, the quantity, the rate. So let me just go ahead and enter a new one for you, and this is for office supplies, or maybe I'm going to sell, maybe it's office supplies that I purchased earlier for resale. So I'm going to create a new item, and it's a non-inventory part item, and this is for $50, and then the income account is going to be, say, other income. And so this is here, and we can put office paper if that's what this is, and this customer purchased 5 reams of the paper, and then it totals out to $250. So I can go ahead and save this, and it will go ahead and save it for us. I can come back and right click and delete the invoice again. That is creating invoices. The next form is creating sales receipts. The difference between a sales receipt and an invoice is an invoice is something that you want to bill your customer now and receive the payment later. A sales receipt is something where you bill your customer and receive the payment at the same time. For example, if you go to Walmart, you go through the checkout line, you are billed and you make your payment at the exact same time. So there's no need for Walmart to create an invoice for your purchase and then receive a payment on your invoice. All that Walmart needs to do is create a sales receipt for your purchase. Once they've created the sales receipt, then they would go and record the deposit. For our example here, I can click on the button on the home page, or I can go up to customers and I can do enter sales receipt. Again, I can choose my vendors here, or my customer here, and then I can enter all the same details just the same way as I would on an invoice. However, I would choose the payment method that they made here. So maybe it was check, and it was check number 1001 that they paid. So that is the difference between a invoice and a sales receipt. So I'm not going to save this transaction, and I'm going to go back to my home page. Then I have my record deposits form. Here I can choose which account I'm going to deposit into, and this I'm just going to go through my cash account, and I'm going to choose the date of the deposit. I can choose who the deposit was received from, and I can enter who or what it was for. So, or this is the from account, so I need to choose an income account or whatever type of whatever the payment was received from. So this is, say, other income. I'm going to post it there, and then I'm going to give it a memo if I want. So this was donations received in this case. I can give it a check number here, 1500. I can give it the payment method. This was check, and I can give it a class, and I can give it the amount. So I'm going to say this was $2,500. Once I'm finished, I have the option. Most of the time I do not see people use this, but I can choose cash goes back to, if I receive a $2,500 check but I only deposit $1,500, I can get a cash back on this deposit here, so that my accounting is correct, and I could say that cash goes back into my petty cash account, and then the cashback memo goes to whatever. This was cash from deposit, maybe this was $1,000 or $100, so my deposit total is $2,400, but my deposit subtotal was $2,500. That is how to enter a deposit. The final form that we can look at is the transfer funds. We can go to banking and transfer funds here. So this is the time where I'm transferring funds between accounts. So I'm going to transfer from one bank account to another bank account. So in this case, I'm going to transfer $50,000 from the first account, and I'm going to transfer $50,000 to the second account, and then we can give it a memo, and then we can save it. That is using forms in QuickBooks Desktop 2017. Again, thank you for watching. You can send me an email. My email is Caleb, C-A-L-E-B, @rljfinancial.com.